How high is the pressure, Julia, on Netflix tonight after the Disney announcement was so well received and now we got this new Hulu ownership?
Yes, I think the pressure is on for Netflix CEO Reed Hastings, not only to deliver the number of subscribers he projected he would add in this quarter, which is 8.9 million, but also to give some guidance on what to expect for the rest of the year. And also, I think it's worth noting, Sarah, that Reed Hastings usually is very direct about talking about competition. So we'll see what he says about Disney Plus, also about Apple Plus, also about these other services such as NBC Universal service and the AT&T services in the works. And I think we'll really see this quarter whether or not the price hikes announced in January are hurting consumers or whether they're willing to spend more and Netflix has more room to run.
So, Morris, what do you think about the Hulu deal? It goes from 4 owners at one time to now 2, majority Disney and our parent company Comcast.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's good for both Disney, Comcast, and frankly AT&T, because AT&T needs the money. But I think it'll be interesting to see how Brian and Bob Iger work it out from here. I think it makes sense for them to work together, and I think there's a great deal of potential for Hulu.
How much? What's a good sub forecast 5 years out on Hulu?
I think we have to see, before we can really make that any more definitive than Brian did, how they work this out. I think if they work together, both of these are great content generators, Disney more than Comcast, just based on size. But you put those things together, and then you take into account the fact that there's a way to mix this with Disney Plus, and you have number 3 in a 3-horse race long-term for Western filmed entertainment.
Which stocks do you own in that group of streamers?
Of the streamers, we own a lot of Disney. We added to it in anticipation of the meeting because we've known Bob Iger for a long time. And I just remember the first day I met him, he was the heir apparent to Michael Eisner. And there was a big controversy between Steve Jobs, Pixar, and Michael. And I asked Bob what he thought of this, and he was unproven. And he said, Pixar is great. We have to make peace. This is an iconic asset. And just look what he's done since then. So he got it. I saw that he got it, and he still gets it. And you can't forget, he sits on the board of Apple. So
now.
Well, for now, but he's a learning machine, okay? He's a learning machine, just as Reed Hastings is. So, yeah, we own Disney. We own Netflix. We added to Netflix recently. We were shaving it. We approach it in a very disciplined way because on an accounting valuation basis, it's not cheap. But if you look at it holistically, the business, it's probably on the record the single best managed entertainment technology company in the world. And Reed Hastings doesn't overstate, doesn't understate, respects his competition, and defines it almost perfectly.
Which, Julia, leads us to a conversation we had with Kramer this morning, and that is, how can the Disney presentation from last week not have a detrimental effect on Netflix sub growth? A lot of the street believes it won't.
Well, the thing that Reed Hastings has been stressing over the years, as we've talked about competition with various services, including HBO, which for a while was really positioned as a big rival to Netflix, is Hastings has always said that there's room for many of these things, and people will subscribe to many different of these services, just like they have many different cable channels. And the analogy I've been hearing from a lot of executives lately is the question of whether people will treat Netflix like basic cable and they'll treat Disney like an add-on premium cable channel, just like they did for HBO over many years. But I think it's really worth taking a look at Hulu and how Hulu may really help Disney in its competition with Netflix. And the real reason why Hulu is now worth $15 billion as of the sale of AT&T's stake is because Hulu has 25 million subscribers, and in the U.S. last year, Hulu added more subscribers than Netflix did. Hulu still has much more room to run, much more room to grow, especially in the U.S. because its penetration is much smaller. And the real question is what happens if Hulu should really expand internationally and try to go head-to-head more with Netflix internationally, or together with Disney Plus, have those rights be packaged for more international growth. So I think the challenge is not specifically between Disney Plus and Netflix, but more about all these other services, including Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN, everything else in the works versus Netflix, and how Hastings responds to that, especially now that it's more expensive. I mean, Netflix is almost twice as much what Disney Plus is going to cost.
I mean, she has a point, Morris. I have to watch, Stranger Things on Netflix, Killing Eve on Hulu, Game of Thrones on HBO Go. What am I missing? Amazon, Jack Ryan. I mean, the shows are driving the sub growth, and I somehow am a sucker that subscribes to all of them. Is that the Wall Street view, that there can be many winners?
I think you have to look at the entertainment market much more broadly defined. People probably in America spend $100 and $150 billion on the bundle, okay? We learned the bundle is not going to go away, but it's going to shrink consistently, constantly. Reed Hastings, in the last Netflix call, put it really well. He said his biggest competitor was Fortnite, okay? This is the entertainment business, which is, maybe it's $1 trillion market worldwide, but it's a multi-$100 billion market in this country. And if you look at it that way, Disney Plus is a drop in the bucket, okay? Netflix isn't exactly a drop in the bucket. It's not that big. None of them are that big. And yet, they are the future of film entertainment. And Disney Plus is going to be a bargain. For $6 a month, you get all the new origination and you get the Disney library. I can't think of a family that has anybody under the age of 18 as a member of the household that wouldn't seriously consider subscribing to it. Just that simple.
I guess, Julie, it also raises the question of just how expensive this game is going to be to get that original content, and how much competition there's going to be for the actors and the writers, and how that's going to upend the industry.
Yeah, I'd love to be running their money because.
Right.
What we're talking about here is
Hollywood.
All of these different services, whether it's Disney Plus with the new original content or Apple Plus or Netflix, they're all competing not just for subscribers, but also for content creators. We've seen Netflix make some huge high-profile deals, paying hundreds of millions of dollars to big showrunners like Shonda Rhimes and Ryan Murphy. And as we see some of these big TV showrunners in particular get snapped up, there's just not as many people out there as there used to be to create new original content. Disney has the advantage of its brands. Netflix has locked in some big name content creators, but I think in general, there's just so much more competition and so much money out there looking for good premium content. It's going to help content creators in general, but it means that if you're another player or even a Hulu trying to get out there and get a new original show, there are just more people trying to pay for it. We haven't even mentioned Amazon yet. They're also paying up for original content.
It's a really good point. I mean, whether it's Amazon and Apple, they got the money, right? But are the gates coming down for players that are not, pedal to the metal on this front?
I just said that money talks. And I think some of the other competitors have real issues, both in terms of scale and balance sheet. And I think that's going to make a lot of difference. You're going to need great judgment, okay? Jeff Bezos changed the management at Amazon Prime Video, and I think he made a constructive change, okay? You need good judgment. The succession question at Disney is a big question. But as I said, I have a lot of confidence in Bob Iger. He has not, in a very broad sense, disappointed us yet.